What's up, everybody? It is that time again. It is time for Drop a Line. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and for the first time in a little while, Instagram Live. Thank you all for joining us. Our guest tonight is a wonderful author named Benji Carr. I am very excited to introduce him. Please welcome Benji. Wow, is that cool or what? And that is Benji. How cool is that?
God. How are you?
Just fine. You are just fine. It is good to see you. Thank you for being here. I am so happy we could finally get you on the show. I apologize, too, for missing our last appointment, by the way. I'm glad I could finally keep an appointment for once in my life.
You were getting married. I mean, honestly, there's a reason you were getting married. So as a result of that, we couldn't do an interview because you were busy, betrothing yourself to someone for the remainder of your life.
Well, that is a fact. And I like the way you point out facts. I think we're going to have a fun conversation this evening. Now, Andrew, I know you're listening to this right now. I know you're out there. Though you try to hide. I'm kidding. For those who are new to Drop a Line, I'm kidding. Andrew runs tech for every show. I'm just being purposefully edgy this evening. Andrew, if you could remind me how to share our YouTube link with Mr. Carr here so we can share it on all his platforms, I would be eternally grateful for that because I forgot how to do that. Benji, how are you this evening?
I am fine. I'm realizing that my phone is covering up the chat link, so I don't know necessarily if that means I'll be able to see it when he sends it to me. But it's okay.
That is okay. That
I'm
is
just covering my own face. I'm covering my own face now, so that's cool.
Wonderful. All right,
I don't actually have to look at myself. It's okay.
You look great. You look great. You are. I'm very excited to have you here this evening and to talk to you. I really have been looking forward to it for a while now. You, Benji, are the author of Impacted, which is a novel. Is that true or false?
That is true. It is a novel. Yes, indeed.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm actually going to post the link right here in the comments section in case that makes it any easier.
I am copying the link here. So that way I can put it onto the Facebook now.
Perfectly. Perfect.
I'm so old I refer to it as the Facebook. So that
you can refer to it as the Facebook. Many people we talk to refer to all of this as the Zoom. So at least you know it's not the Zoom. I think that is refreshing. Instagram, we got a lot of people joining us. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. So
hi everybody. I see friends of mine. This is sort of fun.
Isn't this wonderful? I know everybody comes out and watches the show. It is very fun. So for those who might not know you, Benji, would you like to, when you are ready, introduce yourself to our audience?
Sure. My name is Benji Carr. I am an author out of Atlanta, Georgia. I have written my first novel, Impacted. It came out last month. It is a literary fiction, Southern gay murder noir involving dentistry. And in addition to that, I also am the board president of the Broadleaf Writers Association, which has its conference coming up. And I also am a drama critic, playwright, journalist, editor, publisher, and just all-around person who stays in his house entirely too much.
Well, I feel like that's been easy for many people such as us during the season we've just survived. I don't want to say experience. I like to say survived. But my goodness, we certainly have been pent up in our houses a lot. And that is why I'm so thankful for individuals like yourself who can just inspire us and encourage us during such a season. You have mentioned a lot of hats that you wear just now. There's a lot of different things that you do. I'm curious how you discovered or developed each of these interests and passions.
Well, I started writing when I was a child. I became obsessed with reading after watching The Electric Company, and then reading all of the Ramona books while my parents were getting divorced when I was like 6. Then in high school, I had an assignment to provide author background for one of my books that we were doing a book report for, except that the author was not well known. He was just a local author who had been around Atlanta. So there was no, there was no internet then. That's how old I am. And we were trying to find any information we could about him. And eventually I realized he was actually a working doctor in a town nearby called Fayetteville. So I just called him on the phone. His name was Farrell Sams, and interviewed him for my English class. And that is how I got involved in interviews, and then got a job at a newspaper from the time I was 16 forward. And I do live storytelling as well. Since then, I was part of a literary society in college. I'm just sort of like, that's how it all happened. I kind of talk too much, and
You're fine.
Well, no. I'm saying that that's how I ended up being a writer. I used to think that I was nosy because I was a journalist, but it turned out that I was just a journalist because I was nosy. And so I just find good stories and I try to be connected to people.
That's amazing. And that's an amazing set of skills to have, especially for this industry. It seems like it really comes to you naturally.
I hope so. Try to be either empathetic or caring, or at least appear to be.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. At least appear to be. This is our public service announcement. Be caring or empathetic, or at least appear to be. Thank you very much, everybody in the comment section. I really was also picking up that the work you did, the initial work you did as a writer, kind of led you to some of the other work you do. Like, it opened doors for you. Would you agree with that?
Yes. One thing about being a writer is that, like, the more that you want to learn or study, like if you take improv classes, then that teaches you how to create characters and then also immediately dispose of ideas, but it also allows you to use your imagination on the fly. Studying television and studying dramatic writing helps you to build scenes with good dialogue. And then also knowing your own story, getting on stage at places like the Moth and standing up and talking about yourself for 5 straight minutes with no one to interrupt or correct you helps you to learn what your voice is and learn how to both hone it for essays and how to change it when you're creating characters.
Ah, fantastic. Fantastic. Anybody who is watching right now, I just want you to know you are getting absolutely sound advice about what happens when you apply yourself in your field, and how many different skills you can learn by practicing a multifaceted skill, such as writing or character creation. I don't really know what I'm saying right now. Benji, I wanted to make a quick...
I don't know what I'm saying either.
This is the interview where we don't know what we're saying, so that's great. You're among friends. Benji, I wanted to try a quick experiment real quick. Could you try muting your laptop and turning up the volume on your Instagram? Because I am hearing a little bit of interference. Just a little.
Why am I moving my phone? Oh, good God.
Yes.
No. I forgot that I'm on camera. This is...
There you go. I like that button. I like it a lot.
Hold on. I haven't touched the button yet. Where? That's louder. That's mute. Okay. Hi.
Hi there.
And now I'm turning up the volume on my phone. Oh. Is this better?
No.
It's horrible.
Yes. Is there a mute button on your keyboard by any chance?
Yes, I hit it.
Okay. Now talk to me again.
Hello, sir.
Hello. All right. Beautiful. I can hear you great. Can you hear me?
Yes, but I'm also blocking my own face on the other screen, which I'm not doing now, so thank God.
Yes, all right, great. Andrew, how do we sound? Can you let us know on StreamYard, Instagram? Just give us a quick, just write us something in the private chat. Let us know how we're doing. Oh, no, actually, you already did that. You hear an echo when I talk? When I talk, now, why when I talk, I'm muted. If I am muted, why am I? Oh my goodness, the inner workings of. Oh my goodness. Okay, well I'm gonna go ahead and just lower my volume like that. There. How am I now?
Now I
Testing
just
1, 2,
hear
3.
you on my phone, so I don't
Yes,
really need
that's
to
very
wear
good. That's the
these
goal.
anymore.
Yes, exactly. And that is the goal for you to just hear me on the phone. Andrew, how am I doing now? How am I doing now? Testing 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. A, B, C. Dear Lord, help me. Still interesting. Okay. All right. So, what I would like to. All right. So, thank you for bearing with that, Benji. What I'd like to do is I would like to reverse it back to what it was. So you can go ahead and unmute your computer and turn down your Instagram.
All right.
I apologize greatly.
I am turning down the phone, but I'm going to try and sing something so that way can. Holy crap! This is like bizarre.
Right.
All
Isn't
right.
it? Yes. So.
Da-da-da-da-da.
All right, so we're
Okay.
gonna keep it as it was. All right, perfect. So thank you for coming on that journey with me, by the way, and don't worry, we'll get you back the minutes that you lost. Not to worry. So, I was very curious about something. You mentioned earlier when we spoke that your book is a sort of Trojan horse. Could you expand a little bit on what you mean by that?
Oh, my book deals with an actually heavy topic, subjects of trauma and abuse, and I hid the way in which the book addresses it by surrounding it in a sort of modern noir setting.
That's pretty cool.
The main character, I don't know if you've read like Dashiell Hammett, stuff like The Big Sleep, things like that, but those are all hard-boiled detective novels, and hard-boiled detectives generally come in and save the day, but they do so reluctantly while also being very selfish.
Right.
I wrote a book without a detective. I wrote a book where essentially the floozy who commits a murder is in over their head and then has to figure their way out. And my floozy's name is Wade.
Aha! A floozy named Wade.
Yes.
That's what I will title my fan novel that I write based on Impacted. So look out for that. My fan fiction, the floozy named Wade. Thank you, everybody. Friends of Benji, friends of One True Promotion. Thank you very much for joining us on Drop a Line. Please do leave us comments and questions. We would love to.
What happened?
I live in a motorcycle obsessed town, so sometimes I'm just sitting in my living room and I think that the devil has risen out of the ground to just devour me, and I'm just like, oh no, that's just the cyclists outside. So I really must apologize.
It's
But
fine. I live in Buckhead, the land of performative mechanics occasionally.
there you go. There you go. It sounds like you and I are enjoying a similar kind of suffering. So,
Yes.
all
My
right.
unofficial hell.
So everybody who is watching, you are free to ask us questions. You are free to ask Benji questions. Please do let us know if you have a question. We love to take your questions. Welcome to Drop a Line. If you would like to bounce over to One True Promotions YouTube and subscribe and leave us a comment there, that would be eternally appreciated. You
If
mentioned
people have
earlier.
read the book, if they love it or hate it, then let me know.
That's right.
Particularly
Yes.
if you hate it, please let me know.
Especially if you hate it, please let me know. I love that. Benji, I don't hate the book. The book is on my to be read list. So you did talk a little bit about what the book is earlier, but I would like, if possible, to learn a little bit more about what inspired the creation of this book and, sort of the why that's attached to the story.
I was trying to write flash fiction and was really, really bad at it. I was attempting to write a 500 to 700 word story for this website called Shotgun Honey, which has published friends of mine. And so I had this sentence in my head that got stuck there that I thought would be a good jumping off point for a crime story. It was because she couldn't unfuck her dentist, she had to figure out another way to survive. And so then I just sort of kept writing down the phrase unfuck the dentist everywhere around my house.
Mm-hmm.
And because it was real subtle.
Yeah, right.
Then I realized that I can't write from the perspective of like a 30-something married woman. That is not my experience. What I do know is how to be a closeted young person, teenager, whose home life is surrounded by entirely too many secrets.
Mm.
So my hometown is essentially where I set the book. I called the town Waverly in the book, but it is set essentially in my hometown of Beaufort, which the main character is a new father. He has a baby at home. He has a girlfriend at home. And he lives in his mom's basement.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process, he is in an affair with his much older dentist, a guy named Dr. Emmett, who has sort of manipulated him into a relationship. But because the novel is told mostly from Wade's perspective, Wade doesn't know that he's been manipulated so much. He is blaming himself for a lot of what happens. And as the mess gets worse and worse and more complicated, Wade doesn't want to confide in anyone, instead just sort of takes it on himself. And also has this sort of sardonic, defeatist sense of humor to him, which is completely foreign to me. I'm the most confident person in the world. Kidding. Anyway, so that's how the voice came about and how the drama came about.
Right. All right. Yeah. So, would you say that this book is important to you?
A portion of my soul was excised in order to write it. There were portions of it that became incredibly painful.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, though, I thought I was just having fun because I was writing it till 4 a.m. in a 24-hour Dunkin' Donuts. But then, as I got to what the book was actually about, I started mining my own feelings and things that I hadn't processed from childhood. I myself am a survivor of abuse, and
Right.
I started to revisit scenes from my own life and sort of rewrite them in a way that they should have been processed, which is something you can do with perspective at 45 about something that happened to you when you were 14, 15, 18.
Yeah. Right. For younger writers who are possibly experiencing the same, and might be watching this channel right now, do you have any advice for them?
Be patient with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Be safe when you're processing things through your feelings. Sometimes it's hard to be able to tell a story about something that happened just a week before, or even a version of it. I remember in college something terrible happened to me that I thought would make a really good book, and as I was trying to write it, I realized that I don't have perspective on my life in the moments as it happens.
Mm.
That's one of the things about like knowing yourself and being with yourself all the time, is like you can occasionally point out everything that you do wrong, but you can't point out like why anything is happening. You're just sort
Right.
of going with the flow, living from moment to moment.
Right.
Practice always. Try writing every day. Try writing on a like word count schedule. But also be gentle with yourself. Things happen as they do, and study. Always study.
Yes, absolutely. Fantastic advice. Um,
It's not
I feel
exactly
like
profound advice, but it's good advice, I
it
suppose.
is. Yes, it
These are things
certainly
that
is good.
work.
Yeah, I certainly agree with that. And I feel like we might have halfway answered this already, but I wanted to know who you think I could really share this book with. You know, who would you say needs this book?
I wrote it so that someone somewhere, potentially a closeted gay kid like I was, whose life is surrounded by secrets, will read it while going through some sort of traumatic situation or abusive situation and feel less alone.
Yes.
However, at the same time, the book also works if you're just in the mood to watch a dentist get beaten to death for all the shit that they've ever caused you. If you like Southern Gothic stuff, it works for that too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And again, it's like a detective novel without the detective.
Right. That's so cool. So cool. And thank you for
I've heard
answering that.
Oh, come on.
No, go ahead. Please continue.
Oh, I've heard that it's not nearly as gay and tacky as I think it is.
Right.
That I could have been far more graphic.
Right.
But unfortunately, that's not the story of my life. Friends of mine always find the stories of bad sex more interesting than the like stories of good sex.
Right.
But nobody ever writes about bad sex, so that's what I tried to do.
Right, exactly. Yeah, well, I certainly appreciate you trying to be original there, for sure. In fact, I can think of a couple other authors who would share that exact same sentiment on writing about a topic that isn't getting a whole lot of attention, especially if you know you can do it in such a show-stopping way. Um, but yeah, thank you for answering that question, because I am actually, in addition to being a writer, studying to be a school psychologist, and that is the career I would like to hold for as long as I'm on this earth. So when it comes
I'm so glad
to,
that you said that.
was that?
I'm so glad that you said that. My counselor in high school saved my life.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Well, you know, I would much rather be, not to turn the interview around on me, but I would certainly much rather be the person who helps than the person who hurts. You know what I mean? I don't want to be that character in the story, not by a long shot. So I often do like to ask myself and ask the guests, you know, who is this book for? You know what I mean? Who really needs to read this? And I like to send your words along to somebody who could really be impacted. Title drop, impacted by them. So thank you for answering that. And yeah, do you want to talk at all about your school counselor for a minute, or should we brush past that?
My school counselor's name was Marjorie Wilson. She was the first person in my life that I told about abuse that was occurring at my home, instead of keeping it to myself. She sort of puzzled out that something was wrong. And I was in her office so often that she made me her assistant for my senior year of high school. She encouraged me to not beat myself up. She encouraged me to reach out to others, get away from abusive situations, but also to not blame myself as readily for things that I thought were entirely my responsibility. Which is the same. It's the same sort of situation that I put my character through.
Right. I think that's brilliant, really, that you have, because that is so true that when an outside party has not yet counseled you on putting this problem into context based on how they've experienced the world and the people that they've met in their profession and throughout their lives. You know, when you go in without any of that knowledge to arm you, you really do feel like it all falls on your shoulders, and it doesn't occur to a lot of people to put the blame where it should be, or to at the very least take the blame off who it should not be on. And
if you think of it in terms of characters, if a character is a point of view character and they aren't confiding with anyone else, then it's just their ideas and their doubt and their thoughts running cyclically in their head over and over. I'm doing this on purpose with my finger. But you occasionally need someone outside of your situation to help you see it clearly. And even though you were there and experienced it, the world does not exist in a vacuum.
That's
And
right.
and we are not forgiving of ourselves.
That's right. The world really does not exist in a vacuum at all. I can remember. Do you know where the term case of emotion comes from? Because I actually don't. I never saw that movie.
Glass case of emotion.
Yes.
I'm trying to remember. What is that from?
I don't know. That's why I
All right.
asked you.
Googling. I'm a
There we
movie
go.
fan. I have to do this. Last Case of Emotion is a TV program, it says.
There you go.
NASCAR. What the hell? I have
NASCAR.
no
We don't
idea.
need NASCAR.
It's on Urban Dictionary, which makes me kind of afraid as to what it might mean.
It makes me afraid as well.
It's from Anchorman. You're tricking me. You knew that.
I actually haven't seen Anchorman since I was in elementary school, so I promise you that was not a trick.
It's when he's in the phone book. It's when he's in the phone booth. He's yelling, "I'm in a glass case of emotion." Yes.
That's right. That's right. Listen, I'm going to announce to the whole world that I genuinely did not remember that, but now I do. So thank you for helping me remember this quote from Anchorman very much. Listen, somebody at work said that to me one time while I was counseling a student. So ever since then, it's been bugging me. I'm like, what did he mean by that? Anyways, so yes, I was that.
You were in middle school.
I was in middle school. That's right. That's right. My wife is defending me. I did not trick you. I promise.
Wait. How did you get into the theater if you were in middle school? Did you sneak in?
No, my brother brought it home.
Oh, nice.
And my mother put it on.
Exactly. Everyone needs the Will Ferrell gateway drug.
That's right. Exactly. Maybe not everybody. So now I'm going to ask the annoying questions. Are you ready to be annoyed?
I'm nervous that I am not attracting a gigantic audience, and I don't know quite what to do.
You are attracting the audience we get during all of our shows. Look, Tara is here. Our regulars are here. What's up, Tara? Thank you for watching Drop a Line. Please ask us a question. Ask Benji a question. We are running out of questions to ask. It is great to have you. What's with this private chat? Andrew is ready. Andrew, you ask a question. Stop shooting aliens for a minute, would you? So, all right, I'm going to ask the annoying questions now. Are you ready to be annoyed?
Of course.
Okay, good. That's what I wanted to hear. Tell us about your daily writing process, or not daily writing process.
I basically stay under a weighted blanket in my bedroom and cry.
That sounds amazing. That's actually my new goal in life as of this moment.
It used to be to go to the Dunkin' Donuts until 4 a.m. But ever since the pandemic, I've basically been trying to imagine scenes of two people having conversations in like crowded malls or whatever, and it all just feels like science fiction now.
Exactly. It really does. Our whole reality turned into science fiction. I meant to ask you about that. I want to hear more about this Dunkin' Donuts business. Tell me everything. You are the only guest who has ever come on this show and told us I wrote the whole book at a Dunkin' Donuts. So you have the floor.
All right. At some point, I can never write at home alone in my house because there are too many distractions, and also I hate my own thoughts and my own voice. And so I will regularly flee from the solitude of the blank page to go and find any other place to be. So what I would do would be I would go to storefront Targets where there were like Starbucks cafes, so that way I could either write paragraphs or go and browse for pens and legal pads. At one point, I didn't think that I was a writer or a particularly prolific or successful writer. I just thought I was a hoarder of legal pads, which if behind me there are about 75 of them. I realized eventually that I could work in the same Dunkin' Donuts where all the Emory students were studying, and that there was a very colorful group who generally wanted to be left alone. Um, at 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, occasionally old homeless men will come up and hit on you, which leads to a more colorful experience, particularly if you're writing a story or such. That's one of the ways in which I discovered. Um, oh, sorry, that's a bad joke. I don't know that I'm allowed to make that joke.
You're allowed to say what you wish.
Oh, well, no, I just.
Might be a little R-rated. Yeah.
Oh, it was more than R-rated, but
No,
honestly, that's one of the reasons why I probably am not allowed back at that Dunkin' Donuts. But
I see. I see. All right.
kidding,
All
I'm
right.
kidding, kidding.
I can piece it together from there.
Don't, I'm just kidding.
All right. Andrew has a question. If you had 10 minutes to write about something that is interesting to you, what would you write about and why is it interesting to you?
If I had 10 minutes to write about something interesting, I would try and imagine a character and write a letter from their perspective, potentially either a suicide note or a breakup note, and try to write it in their voice. The means for that is because when someone is talking in their own voice and when someone is at a breaking point, that is when they are at their most raw and also occasionally their most interesting. I've written 2 stories at this point that were essentially epistles or epistolary narratives, and at this point it's sort of strange to me that nobody really corresponds in the way of a letter anymore unless it's something profound.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Tara is very, over on Instagram, is very into that idea. She says that that is fascinating. She also says that the weight blanket probably helps with the tears. Probably does. I
Oh
would.
yeah, it feels like a giant hug.
It does. It does feel like a giant hug, doesn't it? Yeah. I very much love that story idea. Andrew has one, and he has a question attached to it. If it were me, I would write a story where Alec found out that I've been a synthetic for the entirety of his knowledge of me. A synthetic what? Are you talking about an android?
Well, I
How
think
would
it's
he react?
because he's doing the Alien video game right now. I think that he's kind of expecting you to be sort of Bishop or Wash,
Yes.
wherein he's secretly betraying you in a HAL 9000 sort of way,
Got it.
and basically prioritizing the needs of Wayland Yutani over whether or not you actually survive. And I don't think that you would necessarily be surprised by it.
I would not be surprised by it. Nothing Andrew does surprises me at this point.
Yeah,
Uh,
I wouldn't be surprised if certain friends of mine from high school tried to kill me. But
yes,
it's
exactly. Yes. I sent him some distorted voice videos recently. I don't think he was surprised at all. Just terrified, like he normally is.
well, technically, we sent him a distorted voice video earlier in this podcast or in this discussion.
That is true. That is very true. He's used to it on a weekly basis. Here on Drop a Line, where Andrew works out our sound problems. Tara says, yes, they have a lot to hide, so they try to make other things sound more interesting because they don't want others to hear, but also want to.
It's one of the things that I find interesting about live storytelling. If you go to one show like The Moth or something, then everyone is able to present who they are as they want to be seen. But if you see the same storyteller tell stories over and over and over again, eventually you realize that there's what they're presenting to you versus like there's an undercurrent generally of like loneliness or dissatisfaction or insecurity that people aren't as apt to show. And that's why you watch one person tell a story of a terrible date and you pay attention to the date and it's hilarious. And then you realize that if they have 20 stories like that, you're like, oh, poor guy.
Mm,
What's going on with that? Even though he's still just interested in presenting himself as funny.
yeah, right, exactly. Tara asks, what do you do to get in your character's headspace, or how do they talk to you?
In regard to this book, one character was very much like me, and other characters I assumed would do one thing and then they just wouldn't do that because it didn't make logical sense for them to do that within the confines of the story. And so I started to listen to what they logically would do versus what I wanted them to do. And when I got out of their way, the story made more sense. But then talking to friends of mine, they're like, but you wrote it. Why can't you just make them do what you want them to do? And it's like, because I've been with them this whole time. I have to understand where they're coming from. And when I see where they're coming from, they occasionally are going to operate on their own agendas. Knowing what their agendas are is my job.
That is, oh, I love the way you said that. Knowing their agendas is your job. I think that is, yeah, that's a powerful sentence, Tara says. When you got out of their way, so true. They have their own words. Yes.
I am. Hold on a second. I'm there. Okay, cool. Sorry, I was having to put the phone on the charger so that it does not die midstream.
Yes, we would hate for the phone to die midstream. Thank you for the awesome questions, Tara and Andrew. Anybody else watching, you're free to ask questions. Benji,
Please,
around this time. Who's
what?
here?
No, no one. You were saying?
Oh, I thought you were saying something to Scott. I'm so sorry.
Oh no, I said please God.
Please, God, yes. So sorry.
Yes.
Please, Scott. Okay. Around this time, I usually allow the guest to ask a question of the audience or the hosts if they would prefer to before I move on.
I can ask you a question.
Sure.
When does your next book come out and what is it about?
December 5th, 2021. 10 years ago, I developed the story called The Children of Ark. It's a story about Richard Renovon, who lives in a small working class economy in the only town left alive in the desert of Arizona, in a futuristic Earth overrun by demons. He is one of the first to witness the first demon attack on his town since the crisis began 35 years ago. Unbeknownst to everybody, he has a secret that he is about to unleash upon the invaders. It is the beginning of an epic fantasy adventure, which is about slaying demons, both existential and inward.
And you wrote this with your wife, you told me.
I've been working on the story for a very long time. I created an entire series, but I really needed to hone my craft as an artist and to kind of come out of my shell a bit and discover who these characters were in this first go round. My wife is an actor and a character creator, and sitting and talking to her about the book, we ended up really just making it a collaborative effort. She has put so many personal touches on these characters, on this story. She has helped me to refine my writing process so spectacularly. December 5th, you are going to be reading The Children of Ark by Alec and Carrie Pangea.
And did that strengthen your relationship working together?
It certainly does. She has proven on a blah, 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 blah. She has proven a number of times that she puts me first, that I can count on her for pretty much anything. And I tell you, at the end of a busy day where I'm all tangled up and a mess all over the floor, that's pretty much all that I remember, to remember how blessed I am to have her. So
fantastic. My friend John Adcox has now written 2 books, and his wife is his illustrator. And
amazing.
They come out every Christmas, and her work is just amazing. And he praises her at every opportunity. I have a partner sort of like that in terms of my creative life. The person who is always my first beta reader and is the first person that I send anything to, is my friend Vicky, who I've known since I was 14 years old, who the book is dedicated to. And she helps strengthen my work and make it better. And she's done that ever since we wrote a 400-page soap opera on notebook paper together in French class.
That is amazing. That must have been one boring French class.
The teacher pretended that she was a spy.
A spy.
And occasionally would hide all of these details about her own personal life, which then would lead us all to like become fabulists ourselves. And so we just sort of, I don't know, it was a great place for the imagination to grow.
Well, that's what she was trying to do, to get you to write a book. It does sound like a great setup for a comedy, doesn't it? Yeah, seriously.
It really was.
Yeah, so good. There we go. So yeah, Benji, I mean, wow, this has been a great discussion. We are part of the way through already. Thank you for that question, by the way. I really appreciated that question, and my wife appreciated it too.
No problem.
You have just a very, encouraging way about you, and I really appreciate talking to you. I'm very curious. When you became a published author versus big shout out to Vicky, by the way. Vicky, you are crushing it. You've been crushing it for ever since you were 14 years old. Vicky,
30 years now, yes.
30 years crushing it, Vicky. Good job. And Tara said she didn't know Carrie was an actor. That's why I adore her, she says. And we adore you too, Tara. We adore you more than we can put to words. Tara was one of our previous guests.
So I was wondering what Tara's story is. But
yes,
I mean, she can leave that in the comments, or I can look up her old interviews.
Yes, please leave your story in the comments, Tara. That's what Dropline is all about, hooking people up. On that note, I'm very curious to know if becoming a published author versus an unpublished author changed the process or experience for you at all.
It's still new, but yes. When you're writing for yourself, or when you're writing a book that you don't know will necessarily see the light of day, occasionally it does work out best that, like, sometimes you think that the donuts that you get that night are all you're going to get out of the book that you're writing. Mm-hmm. But it helps to know that that there are people out there who understand your voice, who like your voice, and can connect with it. I myself find a lot of motivation from external validation, which is not healthy, but it's useful. And so while trying to find the process that worked, I found I would go to improv classes or writing classes, structured situations where there was a moderator who would look over my work and make sure that the comments that I received were productive without being destructive. And also, as I wrote this book, I sent it out to 3 or 4 friends of mine at once and told them that they weren't allowed to ask me anything or say anything about it except to tell me to keep going. So that way they weren't second guessing the plot in the way in which twists were happening. And basically, I didn't know if they were reading it or not. I just needed to know that I wasn't doing it alone.
Yes.
And it turned out that they were actually reading it. The publisher that I found at the Broadleaf Writers Conference, which is in October this year. And the Broadleaf Writers Association is something that I've been involved with since its inception 6 years ago. What we do is we do workshops on the fundamentals of writing and also the business of publishing. People can pitch to agents as well as meet publishers like mine. We do a first pages critique. Have you ever heard of one of those?
Yes.
Yeah, this is it's one of the anonymous critiques. I sent the first page of my book to it just to see how it would be received. And all of a sudden, when I got to the "unfuck the dentist" sentence, like 14 people all started circling their page like a mad person. It was fun.
That was awesome. That is awesome. It definitely is a colorful tagline for sure.
Thank you. Oh, Jason Fremstad's there.
Jason
Sorry.
Friend, thank you very much for joining Drop a Line. Leave
Hi,
us a
Jason.
question. Ask us a question. Benji would love to answer your questions.
Yes. Jason finished the book last month, I think.
Ooh,
I've known
amazing.
Jason since middle school as well.
All right, here come spoilers. Here come spoilers. And I'm just going to tell you this since Tara had to sign off. Discerning Her Shadows is about finding your shadows inside while fighting those outside to make the world a better place. That is Discerning Her Shadows. It is a book both my wife and I own. It is definitely recommended. So
it sounds lovely.
It certainly is. We've had so many lovely people on this show, and you are no exception. Where can we find Impacted?
You can find Impacted at wherever fine books are sold. It is available at Barnes & Noble. It's available through Amazon. It's available through my publisher's website. My publisher is The Story Plant, which is out of Connecticut. My publisher's name is Lou Aronica. He is a very, very supportive and kind man. And also, you can find it on the Benji Carr author page on Facebook.
What were you going to say before? I am so sorry. Cut you off.
What did I stop saying? Did I stop saying something?
After I mentioned Tara's book.
Oh, no. It sounded lovely. One of the things. How I discovered this show. I discovered this show because you were speaking to an independently published queer author, and who was very interesting. It was like a fantasy series, and
Brady, right?
Yes, Brady. Yes, and I loved that community and the community that you've set up here. The opportunity that anyone could find if they wanted to discuss their books, to be able to like just come to you and openly talk about it.
Yes.
I like none of my characters have been attacked by space aliens yet, but there's still time.
There is still time. There absolutely is time. Especially if you start interacting with Andrew a bit more, there will be plenty of time. Christine is here. Hello, Christine. How are you? By the way, everybody, starting next week, Drop a Line is going to be now at 9:30. I sent out a mass calendar earlier this week, and a whole bunch of people signed up for the fall season. Y'all do remember, it's 9:30 to 10:15 from now on, because I'll be on the road from 8 to 9, coming home from Rowan University. Thank you all for being here. Benji, thank you for being our last 9 o'clock guest for a little while.
Well, if I caused you to push the deadline a little too quickly, or if I got you before you were able to fix your hair, then I'm so sorry.
Nope, my hair is God made. It is what I am born with. I did not need to fix it. It's all good. But Benji, I really
the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away eventually, though. So be very, very, very quiet.
So good. So Benji, I very much enjoyed talking to you, and I also appreciate that you have been vulnerable with us this evening and honest and just yourself, openly yourself. What I'd like to ask as we draw near the end of the show is, how can we support you today?
Well, read the book, first of all, because it's one thing to be supportive and say, oh my God, you wrote a book, that's amazing. But if you actually read the book, then you understand, with any author, you understand exactly what it is that they've done and exactly how they've processed through all the feelings that they've had to go through. Then after that, review it on Goodreads, on Amazon, talk about it. If you read this and it connects with you, if you read this or if you know someone who it will connect with, then talk about it. This is the way that small presses and independent publishers are able to survive, because so much of so much of publication news is covered up by like is covered by the big five publishers,
Yeah,
but the rest of us are out here with good stories to read and good stories to tell, and all it takes is you telling someone else, telling someone else, telling someone else, and eventually they turn my book into a movie. I'm kidding.
that's right. That's right. And that is the
It's
goal.
not the goal.
Absolutely. Leave Benji some reviews. Everybody, authors need reviews, especially us authors. Thank you very much. Benji, to convince them that this book is, as we say on in community fandoms, a buy, would you like to read a segment of it for us?
Yes, I would.
All right, we're getting a live reading, everybody. Strap in.
This is from the end of the first chapter, y'all. Wade heard Dr. Emmett slam his fist down on the desk. "Oh, for fuck's sake," the dentist shouted. "Fucking hold again. You suck, Daphne." The dentist hit a key on his phone, then slammed down the receiver. A light, cheery symphony filled the air. Taking quick advantage of the moment, Wade stood from the toilet, exited the bathroom for the hallway, and then said in as innocent a tone as he could adopt, "Hello? Hello?" He meandered slowly down the hallway. Its wallpaper was like the Chicago skyline. He wandered down it as though it were the first time he were there. "Wade! Wade, what are you?" Dr. Emmett called. A moment passed, a button clicked. The symphony died. A brief rustling came from the exam room. Then Dr. Emmett poked his head into the hallway. "Wade, it's so good to see you," Dr. Emmett said without smiling, but he didn't move from the doorway. "I thought you were going to wait in your car. I should only be a few minutes." Wade glared at the older man, noting the wrinkles in his brow. Dr. Emmett could be worried. Dr. Emmett could be angry. Real Dr. Emmett was such a mystery, unlike the Dr. Emmett who wandered across Wade's mind every day. That one nibbled at him, taunted him, kissed him. Wade had no idea how to read this real Dr. Emmett. Wade approached the dentist inch by inch, walking past John Hancock toward the Sears Tower as though he were covering the actual blocks. "Dr. Emmett, it's been an hour I've been outside. I saw your last patient leave already. Some lady and her son, right?" Dr. Emmett nodded, but again came no closer. "An hour, sir?" Wade dropped his head in disappointment. He didn't blink. "You summoned me here, and you kept me waiting an hour." "I'm sorry, Wade." "Why?" "I'm sorry I kept you waiting, Wade. I guess that was rude." "You guess?" Dr. Emmett rolled his eyes and changed his approach. His demeanor shifted toward menace, and he finally stepped out of the doorway toward his counter. "Whatever. You're here now, in my fucking workplace." Wade bristled. "I had to use the bathroom, sir." Dr. Emmett stepped closer to Wade, then past Wade. Then he opened the damn door back to the lobby for Wade, waving for him to follow. Like it was nothing, like they didn't have plans, like he was just dismissed. Like it was so easy, like Wade was disposable. Wade, dumbstruck, just stood there, and eventually Dr. Emmett had a tone. "Well, Wade, now that you're finished, could you leave my office before someone sees you?" "Who the hell would even see me? You're here alone." "We have cameras, we have security guards, and more important than that, I have boundaries that I've already told you, Wade." "But we met here, Dr. Emmett. You're my damn dentist. Why the fuck couldn't I just need an emergency crown or something? It's conceivable that I would be here." Dr. Emmett's veins bulged in his forehead. "Listen to me, Wade. If you don't leave here right now, you're going to need a goddamn emergency crown." Wade was stung, but he didn't back down. "I thought you liked my mouth this way," Wade said, and Dr. Emmett smirked, not about to be outsmarted. You can tell people that just as easily as I can, Wade, which is why I know you won't." "You can't I could cause a lot of trouble for you, doctor. Well, you can't threaten me, Wade. You have too much to lose. Just go. But why did you keep me waiting here if you just wanted me to go? It's not like there's anywhere you have to be, Wade. Your whole life is just spent filling time. What? Wade said, approaching the counter, trying to steady his sudden nerves. Go home, Wade. I'm not in the mood for you right now. Dr. Emmett hit the light switch outside his office, illuminating the hallway where they stood. Wade's eyes squinted, the blue of them sparkling in the track lighting. There, Dr. Emmett said. Now you can see your way out. Wade recoiled, turned toward the lobby, then couldn't motivate himself to just walk away from the good dentist. Doc, will I hear from you tonight? I mean, if you're in the mood to talk later. I don't know, Wade. You crossed a line. Now, Wade was unsure exactly how he'd crossed one. He'd dated people before. He'd gone to see them at work. It hadn't been a big deal. It certainly wasn't a make it or break it situation. Granted, Wade wasn't like anyone Wade had ever been with in many ways. The fact that he found the man attractive at all had been surprising. Dr. Emmett had been so persuasive in the beginning when Wade was so confused. Once again, Wade was confused, and Dr. Emmett was so certain. Look, I don't get this, Wade confessed, still afraid to look at the dentist. To look at him, it might be over, like over. I never know where I stand with you. You don't stand anywhere with me, Wade. The office phone rang. I really do have to get that. You interrupted me before. Dr. Emmett walked behind the reception desk and picked up the line. He eyed Wade's back, and Wade started to go away. Yes, Daphne, hello, Dr. Emmett muttered into the phone, his tone more chipper and professional. Did you and the good folks ever track down where my damn sofa is, or do I have to wait another full day for delivery? Wade froze. Daphne, I don't want to hear any excuses. My time is valuable, and I can't just be waiting around for you like a putz. At that, enraged, Wade turned, huffed, and grabbed the ceramic mouth model up off the counter. The jawbone connected to the back of Dr. Emmett's skull before he got out another word. Wade felt the crack more than he heard it. The dentist slumped to the ground behind the desk. Wade looked down upon his lover, with the mandible firmly in his grasp, and with Daphne now saying, hello, hello, he walked through the lobby and out the door. Wade reached the Prius, opened the door, tossed the teeth into the passenger seat. He took another swig of the tea, which was cold now. Wade drove away, the engine barely even purring as the car exited the parking lot.
Wow.
Is that too much? Is that too much?
Very well written, friend. There you go, everybody. That is Impacted. If you aren't buying what is going on, I am definitely buying. That was very impressive. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Thank you. I hope it was okay.
It certainly was. One of my favorite details was the cold tea at the end. I thought that just was a perfect mood setter and realistic too.
Yes, well, the entire chapter functions as a mirror, but I wasn't able to do that. Instead, I just sort of went for the impact, so
Absolutely.
to speak.
And so to speak, exactly. That's about all the time we have for tonight. Benji, how do you feel about being here?
Still nervous, but
oh,
okay.
My goodness. All right, you're the first one we haven't been able to make not nervous, but we'll get you on your second interview, I'm sure. You can come back anytime. We would love to have you back anytime. Thank you for sharing your story with us. Thank you for sharing a part of your life with us. I really do wish you the best. And once your promotion is around to help you anytime that you need us, Benji, thank you for being on Drop a Line.
I'm so grateful to you both. Thank you.
Absolutely. It was a pleasure. That's our show for this evening, everybody. Take care. Do catch us next week with our next guest. Benji, hang around after the show for just a quick minute. See you later, everybody. Good night.